Hi everybody, Mary Mitchell here. Okay, you'll notice I'm in a different space. I'm actually sitting at my kitchen island. It's an open floor plan, so I have lots of light. It's lighter during the day, so I decided, being my studio's dark and I would rather have natural light flooding in. So that's why I moved myself out here to finish the sky. And I have my TV over there if I want to put something on. If you remember, if you look back at some of my feeds, you'll see that it was a painted on, this is, gallery wrapped 1.5 inches thick. I coated it. First I covered it with silver leaf. I didn't like it. And then I went over it with some copper and some gold leaf. Then I painted the tiger over it in acrylic. You can paint over acrylic with oil paints, but not the other way around. I decided what this needed was oil paint. It needed oil paint to give it depth, to help it pop out. And then when I decided to add Mount Fuji and the water and the tree behind it, because I decided it needed more. And Mount Fuji is near and dear to my heart, not because I'm from Japan or ever been to Japan, although I would love to go. My mom was an artist and she painted Mount Fuji, the most beautiful picture that I could remember. And it's always stayed in my mind and in my heart. And so I decided with her there, in both places, I would add this to my painting. So that's what I did. And there are so many different views of Mount Fuji that I found one that worked for me. And the tree isn't there, but it's from across the water, and then there's some land. And I decided that's what I would do. So I manipulated it in such a way that this is what I have. Now all of this is done in oil. Making the moon look kind of smoky, kind of hazy, all done in oil paints. And the tiger is almost all in oil paints now, but now I have to go over it because I made some changes and it got onto the tiger and it kind of ruined parts of it. But I wasn't worried about it because I knew I could fix it with the oil paints. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you don't want to, that's okay. Come and visit me, see what's up. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go, guys. Now this is about 14-15 minutes long, and it's going to seem a little slow because what I have to do first, and I apologize if my hand is in the way, but hopefully, not hopefully, if my hand is in the way, you will be able to see what I've done once I move it, and I apologize for that. There was just nothing I could do about it, really, unless I had a couple of cameras in the room. Well, anyway, what I'm doing is I'm taking this tree, and although there's not going to be any real color in it, I want it to resemble the beginning of a blossoming cherry blossom tree. So there'll be little sort of round buds and things that little leaves, that will be forming on the tree in the early stages of how this tree blossoms. So I thought that would be appropriate for this painting, and that's what I'm working on now. Now also the other thing is too, I had to manipulate this painting a few different ways. Number one, so that my hand didn't get on the any parts of the tiger or the water that hasn't quite dried yet, and also so that you could get a better view. So that's really all I'm doing here, but this is important because I need this to be fully dry so that I can finish glazing in a little bit more white in the background. It's a little, I don't want to say messy, but it needs work, and so I really had to take my time when I did this. And I did speed this up, believe it or not. So it's going faster than it looks. And once I get that the way I like, first I'm putting in the little branches. I get a little bolder, and unfortunately it got late, and the day was moving on, and I ended up working on it still, but I had stopped recording. But I will explain to you at the end where we're going to pick up, and then we'll take it from there, because I had hoped to finish this last night, but such was not the case. But I believe I am well on my way to doing that today. Famous last words, everyone. So what can I say about this painting other than it's really been, it turned out to be more challenging than I expected, and that's because of that was my choice, because of what I decided to add to it. As I said, I wanted it to be more interesting. I wanted it to be more than a tiger sitting under the moon with nothing around it. And I'm very glad that I went down this road with this painting. And what I do after I get these branches in, what you'll eventually see is you'll see me putting in some of the buds, which I believe I start to do now. And then later on, I actually make them bigger too. So it was a little, I was a little nervous about that because of the perspective of the tiger versus the tree, how far out it was, how big do I make them. But I just used my judgment, and I think I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. After I get done doing that with this tree, I end up taking some glazing medium, which you'll see me do, and my nephew, in all his artistic wisdom, he said, "Aunt Mary, why don't you just glaze some Prussian blue or some dark blue into that water?" And so I did. And I'm really glad that I took his advice, because not only did I do that in the water, but I did that also with some white so that the moon is reflecting off the water, as it is Mount Fuji and parts of the tree that I'll be working on. So you see me messing around with the glazing medium in parts of the moon where I know that I can't smudge any of that. I'm staying away from the black as much as I can. It's funny because oil painting is not to be rushed. It really isn't. You really have to take your time with it, and it to dry slowly. You can buy fast drying medium, and and that does help to an extent. But the whole point is to, well, not the whole point, but one of the points of doing this for me was to get into that mode where I don't feel so rushed, where I can take my time and let it dry, and then as I look at it, see if there's anything I want to change, and I do, as it turns out. Whereas with acrylic painting, I did tend to rush that a little bit, and so this is forcing me to slow down. And as you can see, I really like the way the light, the white, the glazing, the white into the moon is the effect that it has on it. And we'll be doing more of that in this next round after I show you what has been done with this. So here is where you see me putting the glazing on the water. I have a slant brush. I'm being careful not to go onto the tiger. I do a pretty good job with that, I'm happy to say. There is the tree over to the one side, and I'm trying to, what I did is I made that a different color so that it wasn't black, and because cherry blossom trees are, the back of it will be darker, but it won't be black. So I wanted to just differentiate between that and the water. It can be difficult to try to negotiate your colors. And it's really just looking at it, and yeah, you want it to make sense, but you also don't want to go crazy about that either. You don't want to go crazy, oh, if this doesn't make sense, you know, you can really I've done it, overwork something that way. So, and that's why it's called a painting and not a photograph, and I've said that on many occasions. So, I love glazing. Boy, it's a wonderful medium. You can go real light on the painting, but have an amazing effect on it. You can do layers on layers. There I am with the white, putting that over it. I blend that in, and I'm really happy the way the water came out. I will not have to touch that, but wait till you see what I do after this. Once this is done, the video stops. There you get a good look at how the glazing medium also gives it a nice shine as well. So, excuse me, guys. And the lines do show, as far as Mount Fuji goes, those, it's not going to be that straight. I just did that for now, but Mount Fuji will sort of dissolve into it in so many words. So after I got done doing all of this and taking my time doing this, I'm looking at the copper under, and I know I need a lot of work on the tiger, color-wise. You know, his composition is fine. But this bottom part of the painting is really leaving me cold. I don't, you know, I like the copper, I like the metal leafing when it shows through the painting. I do. I think it really helps it to really stand out and make a statement. But I'm looking at this lower half and I'm thinking to myself, what do I do now between the water and the tree? What happens? It's just, you know, a copper beach? No, I need to do something with that. And I had this great idea, and I wish I had recorded it. But I think that even with acrylic paints, whether you work with acrylics or oils, when I show you the picture of where we're at now, it's pretty obvious to see what I did. And that's the beauty of taking your time, is because if you're really not sure about something, you can take your time, and all of a sudden it will hit you right out of nowhere. For me anyway, many times. So I'm just, I was dragging the color down the tree, and now I've decided with the tiger to go back to the tiger and just focus on him. And what I do is I want to make the colors make sense now. This part's important. So the left side of the tiger will be darker, the right side is going to be lighter. And that's really how it was before, except it's going to be more so now because I've added a lot more. And I'm being careful to use those lines, the black lines, the stripes, I mean, and those are my guide to his, his body. So, okay, here we go. Here's the grass, and it doesn't make much more sense. And it wasn't hard. All I did was use a fan brush and another very fine tipped long brush, and I painted that right in. Here's the tree, there's the buds so far, and we're going to do another recording. I'm a little tired tonight. I'm going to publish this, and we'll get right back to it tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.